The Philadelphia Phillies took a 1-0 lead last night to start the Marlins series. They end up winning that game 5-2. They had a big sixth inning where they scored 4 runs. Bryson Stott had an RBI single to get the scoring started. Ranger Suarez was on the bump last night. The Phillies have a 4-game series with the Marlins right now, and they're coming into this series red hot, as hot as they've been in a while now. They're 10-4 over their last 14 games. This team has now won 4 consecutive series against a couple of projected playoff teams, might I add. The Blue Jays, the Braves, the Astros, and the Royals. They are 9-1 in their last 10 games in which they score 3 or more runs. So the last 10 times they've scored 3+ runs, they've won 9 of those games. They got this 4-game series against the Marlins. They are 15-6 now since the last time they played the Marlins. 3 more following the win last night. We're going to see Zach Wheeler tonight, Aaron Nola tomorrow, and then Seth Johnson on Sunday, who's getting the call up in his first major league start. He was in the Gregory Soto trade. We'll go in more detail on that later. After this Marlins series, we have 3 coming up against Tampa. Probably going to see Christopher Sanchez, Ranger Suarez, and Zach Wheeler in that series. It's to be determined at the moment. Right now, the Philadelphia Phillies, Trey Turner is 3rd in the National League in batting, 296 after last night. Luis Arraez with a 311 is leading the league, and Marcell Ozuna was pushing for a triple count, batting 305 now, but falling behind in the homer category. Alec Boehm still leading the league in doubles with 44, and Nick Castellanos since June 1st now. I still cannot believe the turnaround for this guy. Nick Castellanos since June 1st, 82 games, 800 OPS, 22 doubles, 12 home runs, 53 RBIs. His 162-game pace since June 1st, 80 games. This is half of a season now. A half a season. He's playing at a pace of 170 hits, 45 doubles, 24 homers, and 107 RBIs with an 800 OPS. That's awesome considering where he was 6 weeks into the season. I mean, it was no light at the end of the tunnel. Some people were talking about dumping this man for Skittles at the trade deadline. He's been the MVP of the lineup in the second half of the season. But talking about MVPs of this lineup, which, by the way, before we jump into this insane hot streak that just happened in Toronto, leading into this Miami series, my name is Shelfie. Welcome in once again to another Cherry Pinstripes podcast. If you are not already following and subscribed on all platforms, we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify. Subscribe here, follow there, follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're all over social media. If you're not watching the weekly podcast, I don't know what you're doing, but you better be on the social media content because we are posting daily, covering these fills, and the playoffs are right around the corner. Now, like I said, Kyle Schwarber in this Toronto series, 7 for 9 with 4 home runs, 7 RBIs, 5 runs scored. He's now 3rd in the National League in home runs with 32, behind only Shohei Ohtani at 44 and Marcell Ozuna, who has 37. He is leading the National League in walks with 96, and that is a 22-walk lead over second place. Now that Juan Soto's not in the National League, we can see just how drastic he is compared to the rest of the league in that department. This is why he's your leadoff hitter. I know there's a lot of swing and miss there, but this is why he's your leadoff hitter. With the DH, there's no pitcher batting ninth. He gets to act as the cleanup man for the bottom of the order, and he walks more than anyone else in the National League by a gap. 22-walk lead in the National League for Kyle Schwarber. Currently, he is tied for the most leadoff home runs in Major League Baseball history with Alfonso Soriano for 13. So his next leadoff home run, if he can get one in September here to end the season, will be historic. It will be the mark for most leadoff home runs of all time in MLB history. And also, side note for Kyle Schwarber, not that a 245 batting average across MLB is a great number, but Kyle Schwarber is batting above league average as we sit here today. Now, this Marlins series, I've joked a lot, especially early in the season, with the Marlins. No matter what's going on with the Marlins, they always seem to play us well. Not so much this season. They traded some guys. They got rid of their closer. They got rid of Jazz. Lots of young guys on that team right now. The Phillies are taking care of business. This is a huge 4-game series to solidify their lead, not just in the NL East, but, you don't want to, if you blow the divisional lead, suddenly you're in a wild card race. It gives you a cushion against everyone right now to take advantage of this 4-game series. get the job done in game 1 with Ranger Suarez on the mound last night. Now you have your ace going in game 2 against Edward Cabrera, who's the most seasoned of the 4 pitchers you're going to see in this Marlins series. Game 4 of this set, also, you're going to see Max Meyer, who is a pitcher you should keep note of. Watch this kid pitch. Check him out. Get used to his stuff because he's got good stuff. And this is one of these Marlins players you're probably going to see for a couple of years. I like him a lot. Same way I like Mackenzie Gore in Washington. Max Meyer on Sunday against Seth Johnson is a highlight. But you got your ace going tonight against Edward Cabrera. You got Aaron Nola tomorrow. And then you have that Max Meyer versus Seth Johnson matchup. Seth Johnson was acquired in that Gregory Soto deal at the deadline. He currently has a 0.59 ERA in 15 innings with the Iron Pigs. 3 starts in AAA. August 16th, he went 5, gave up 1 hit, no runs, 4 Ks, but 3 walks. Count was up. Second start on August 23rd, 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, 2 walks. Couple walks. Count was up. Went 5, though, only gave up 1. So through his first 10 innings in AAA, it only given up 1 run on 4 hits. 4 hits, 1 run, 10 innings, 8 Ks. Third start, August 30th, just a few days ago. He goes 6, only 1 walk. Count wasn't up. 1 walk, 1 hit, no runs, 5 Ks. Seth Johnson. The note on Seth Johnson that the stuff is nasty, which, by the way, warehouse fan Seth Johnson, blitzball guy. Love us some Seth Johnson. I'm very excited about this because this is one of those spot starts where you could find a diamond in the rough here. This, when we acquired Seth Johnson, and the Orioles they're in all-in mode. They're in all-in mode. They were looking for bullpen depth. They think the rest of the team is there. They're ready to go try and win the World Series. They were okay wiggling on a Seth Johnson to get some bullpen depth. They needed an extra lefty. But this could be a diamond in the rough for the Phillies. We got this situation here with Taijuan Walker. He's making a ton of money. Now he's going to be in the bullpen. Would have loved to see the Tyler Phillips story play out a little bit better than it did, but they're trying to look for somewhere else to pivot. You're going to run a 4-man rotation in the playoffs. This isn't detrimental to the World Series run. But, these last 4 or 5 starts in this 5th spot in the rotation, you don't want to lose 4 or all 5 of these games. You want to win 2, 3, maybe even 4 of these if you can, if the lineup can support you. Seth Johnson could be a little diamond in the rough here. If he can go get you 4, maybe 5 innings and only give up 1 or 2 runs, we can win these ball games, especially against a Miami Marlins club. So this is a big game coming up here on Sunday. Really excited to see these 2 young pitchers go at it head-to-head because the Phillies, as I noted, are not only going to take care of business here against the Marlins, they have their final home stretch of the season coming up following this Marlins series. They're going to have a 6-game homestand against the Rays and the Mets, and then they're going to go away again, and then they will finish the season with a 3-game set as well at home. But this is the final homestand that's coming up. Win 3 or 4, 3, hopefully all 4 in Marlin, but you know me, I don't like getting greedy with the 4-game series. Go win 3 against the Marlins. Come back home, win 4 or 5 out of 6 on this final homestand. And at that point, you're probably chilling. So we'll see how that plays out. But my biggest thing from the last episode, my one critique of this team in the second half going into the October run, bullpen identity. I love the arms. I love the guys. MLB Network just listed the Phillies as the 4th best bullpen going into the postseason. I think that's a low number. I think there's a good argument they have the best bullpen in baseball. My concern is the bullpen identity. You brought new guys in at the deadline, got some stuff going on with Jose Alvarado. The only real thing that's been set in stone since we acquired Banks and Estevez at the deadline is that Carlos Estevez is the closer. That's really the only thing that's been solidified. You've seen Hoffman in the 6th, 7th, 8th. You've seen Orion Kerkering in the 6th, 7th, 8th. You've seen these guys mixed and matched all over the place. But now, over the last week, they've won 9 out of 12. They've won 4 straight series. We're seeing a little bit more consistency here. How will that mix up with Jose Alvarado coming back in? I don't know. But this Orion Kerkering, Matt Strom, Jeff Hoffman, Carlos Estevez, I love that. Obviously, if you got to pivot a little bit depending on matchups, I get it. But I don't want to see Jeff Hoffman before the 8th anymore. And it doesn't seem like we're going to. Matt Strahm got a save last night. It's cool when you can mix and match. Sometimes you have to. But this team right now, Tanner Banks, Orion Kerkering, Matt Strahm, Jeff Hoffman, Carlos Estevez, Jose Alvarado is going to be coming back. That is six legitimate arms. 3 lefties. This bullpen's deep. They're throwing from both sides. All of these dudes are throwing gas. I am more comfortable now than I was at the beginning of the season when I was excited about this bullpen. And just a week ago, I was concerned about the identity of this bullpen. But just a week later, 2 series wins, I feel great now. I think there's a little bit more. We got Carlos Estevez doing kamehamehas off the mound. There's a little bit more comfort there now. Carlos Estevez is locked in. Jeff Hoffman's locked in. We're seeing Bulldog Orion Kerkering here, one of the first guys out of the bullpen. I love him in that role. Love Orion Kerkering in that role. He's coming out throwing more fastballs than he was last year. He was almost all curveball last season. Do we remember when Orion Kerkering was just spamming sweeper in the postseason down the stretch last year, right? He's pumping 97 now with confidence, which is the key. First guy out of the pen. This team, wheels are starting to spin at the right time. They got a favorable schedule here, but that's huge. You can use that to your momentum. Let it roll. Let it ride. Build it up. The identity is starting to fall in place. My biggest question, and I hope this doesn't become an issue, what are we doing with Jose Alvarado? Are we just going to bump him all the way up to the front of the line? Him or Kerkering? First one off the line, depending on who it is? Do you wait a little longer? Do you keep Tanner Scott in that, or Tanner Banks in that earlier role? Does Jose Alvarado throw a wrench in how this fit? Things have felt great over the last 10 days or so. Jose Alvarado. You know how dominant he can be, but he also has those flash in the pan moments. I wouldn't hate seeing them use Jose Alvarado in extremely short scenarios. Big lefties coming up with 2 outs. There's a runner on third. 1 out, second and third, lefty up. I kind of might be exclusively using him in those spots. Bail me out, sir. We don't need, he's not the closer now. He took a break. We look great. What do we do? I don't know. But the good news is Jose Alvarado throws missiles, and the rest of this bullpen, electric. Tanner Banks, since the deadline acquisition, 13 games with the Phillies, has a 2.4 ERA, 15 innings, only 11 hits, 14 strikeouts. And Carlos Estevez, 14 games, 1.72 ERA, 15 innings, 10 hits, 16 strikeouts, 4 saves. He did have the 1 blown save, and of course he gave up the 1 run in extra innings as well, the walk-off against Seattle. But the runner that scored there obviously was a runner that was placed on second base in extra innings, so technically that one's not on him, in my opinion. Slow start has looked great. Bullpen's awesome. Some things to look at moving forward here with the Phillies. Bryce Harper did play yesterday, but both elbows are banged up. The right elbow was already hurt before he got hit in the left elbow 2 days ago. He's walking around with 2 loose wings. Trey Turner's pushing for that batting title. Only 10 points behind Luis, or 10 and 11 points behind Luis Ariz at the time of recording this podcast. He's pushing for a batting title. Going to be tough, especially with Luis Ariz heating up. But Trey Turner could push for that title. Speaking of pushing for titles and awards down the stretch here, Zach Wheeler. Zach Wheeler is in a dog race with Chris Sale right now for the Cy Young Award. And I'm going to tell you just straight up, he's in second. Zach Wheeler is pushing right behind Chris Sale right now. And he's probably going to need a bad Chris Sale start if he's going to get this award. But that may also all be all that it takes. If Zach Wheeler throws 4 more gems in these last couple of starts in September, and he probably will, 1 bad Chris Sale start could win him this award. That's how close this is going to be. It's going to be extremely unfortunate if we got to watch our guy get a runner-up for a second time. Remember when he lost to Corbin Burns a few years ago? Him and Corbin Burns actually had the same amount of first-place votes. He lost on second and third place vote points. This is going to be an extremely tight race. Chris Sale, we're not only fighting the Braves for a division, we're watching these games with a little bit of extra energy too. Zach Wheeler's in the Cy Young race. Seth Johnson start on Sunday. Again, the stuff is just electric. And in a scenario like this, filling in the 5th spot in the rotation, Phils can't seem to figure out what to do with this spot. There's not a lot of pressure here. The Phils are in a great spot. They're going to you out of near desperation at this point, Seth. If you can get us 4, that'd be phenomenal. No pressure. Go do you. Throw bullets. Do your thing. Can't wait to watch that start on Sunday. And Taijuan Walker, I've given him a lot of crap. When we first signed him, I was a supporter of him. I've been a big fan of him going all the way back to when he was with Seattle and Arizona early in his career. But he hasn't been good here. He has an opportunity now to retool things a little bit, shine it up, be a 2-3 inning reliever. Maybe even he ends up just being a reliever. Maybe a 1 inning legitimate just bullpen arm is what Taijuan Walker ends up being. But he's got an opportunity here to shift roles, reset things, maybe be an impact out of the bullpen for this team down the stretch. He did look good in the first 2 innings out of the bullpen, but that 3rd inning in relief, he did end up giving up 2 runs. So his first appearance out of the bullpen, he goes 3, gives up 2, but did look good in the first 2. We'll see what they do there. Probably not going to see him in any huge spots. Would be surprised if we see him in any playoff situations. But we'll see. He's going to have an opportunity to earn more opportunities here down the stretch because you will see him again out of the bullpen. What will it look like? Final homestand after this Marlins series. I'm pumped up about it. Seth Jones on Sunday. 3 more games against the Marlins. We have 1 more month of baseball, and then it's Red October in South Philly. If you guys are not subscribed, subscribe down below. Follow on Spotify. We'll see you guys over on Twitter and Instagram. Daily coverage. We got another game tonight. Go Phils, baby. I'm out. Peace.